All right, true family, what's happening? Welcome back to another episode of We the People, for the people come for the truth. And yeah, check this video here out, and listen how this Muslim woman says that they don't owe no one nothing for 9/11. That no one should feel no type of way for 9/11, right? And she's trying to be elected into our government, by the way. This is a moron Zandami move, right? And then we have Mike Johnson talking about some issues that need to be addressed.
Like New York is being taken over by socialism.
We are all united in stopping Trump.
I see Chuck Schumer don't care. He'll say the quiet part out loud now, right? Anything it takes to stop Trump. That's all that matters, even if it means destroying our country. But the Democrats will say, oh no, it wasn't us, but we don't like Trump. Oh no, his finger. Oh no, it's too big, it hurts.
The cats and dogs of Springfield, Ohio are breathing a big sigh of relief right now as hundreds of thousands of Haitians are fleeing in terror. No, we got to talk about, I'm sure you guys have heard the news already, that the Supreme Court in a 6-3 decision has handed down a major victory for the Trump administration. This is something Trump has been trying to accomplish since 2018 in his first term, removing the temporary protected status for hundreds of thousands of Haitians and Syrians who've had temporary protected status for decades, literally decades. And today, the liberals and Haitians and Syrians are learning what the word temporary actually means. So the U.S. Supreme Court today ruled that the Trump admin is allowed to end temporary restricted status, or TPS, for hundreds of thousands of Haitians and Syrians. Now, this is the second huge immigration win for the Trump administration today, because they also sided with the Trump admin to allow immigration officials to block migrants who show up at the U.S.-Mexico border seeking asylum. So, just because you show up doesn't mean that we have to let you in. It's pretty simple. And of course, in both decisions, we had 3 dissenting liberal justices. And can you guess who they were? Just take a guess. Okay, Jackson, that's an obvious one. But, rack your brain for who the other 2 might be. Okay, obviously it's Justices Sotomayor, Kagan, and Jackson. Those were the 3 dissenters. And in a rare move, Sotomayor read her dissent from the bench, clutching her pearls. But based Supreme Court Justice Alito, a.k.a. the Vanilla Clarence Thomas, he said, in ordinary speech, no one would say that a person arrives in a place, for example, a house, a city, or a country, before the person enters that place. And so the context in which this phrase arrives in the United States is used in the immigration statuses at issue here supports an ordinary meaning reading. So does the presumption against extraterritorially. We therefore reverse. And so what this means is that if you are at the Mexico border, we have no obligation to process your claims of asylum. We can just turn you away. As per federal law. Federal law says that once you arrive in the country, then we have an obligation to process your asylum claims. But if you're just at the border, we, under the federal law, per the definition, we don't have to. We can just turn you around and say, no thanks. We got plenty of you guys in here already.
Opposed Jennifer Welch.
Think about this, Jennifer. For 5% tax one time on Elon Musk, you could have universal childcare in America, $10 a day for every family. That's one person, one time, 5%, and he wouldn't even miss it because the market would grow by 15% and his wealth would still grow. And yet they're opposed to something as basic as that.
Musk and his allies are opposed to him being forced to give up 5% of his theoretical wealth, otherwise known as theft. Imagine that. How strange. You'd probably be opposed to it too if it was your household wealth. Of course, Kahana isn't content to rob Elon. He also might want to put him in jail. Take a listen to this.
I do believe that once we take power, there has to be accountability. There needs to be accountability for Elon Musk. You know, they're celebrating that he created 4,400 millionaires, but they don't talk about the 4.5 million children around the world who he possibly sentenced to death by dismantling USAID. He needs to answer for that. He needs to be subpoenaed. He needs to face investigation. He needs to answer for what he did with Doge. That it's not just let's move on. And we will use the Oversight Committee and the Judiciary Committee to hold people accountable.
Now, if you don't think U.S. taxpayers should perpetually be on the hook for paying for the healthcare needs of the citizens of foreign countries, then the Democrats want to send you to prison. Incredible. You'd think in a sane world it might be the other way around. We would actually punish politicians who vote to ship American taxpayer dollars overseas with no thought about whether this serves our interests. But no, when the Democrats take over, the mere fact that Musk and others tried to find ways to save you money is going to be viewed as a crime in and of itself. And note how we've now rounded up that alleged USAID casualty number to 4.5 million children. Highest estimate I've yet heard. In fact, the estimates just keep getting higher and higher, despite little evidence of it. Surprise, surprise. They want to guilt you into thinking you aren't entitled to keep your own money, that they have every right to spend it however they want, and they don't even need to consult you. That's what the Democratic Party represents, and that's the ethos they will bring to government once they're back in power. Progressive commentator Mehdi Hassan, for instance, applauded Kahana, saying on X that Elon Musk better be ready to answer to a Democratic-controlled House of Representatives next January. Look, they're telling you exactly what they intend to do once they take power. Hold in contempt anyone who tried to reduce the size of government or give Americans back their hard-earned cash. Now, in response to Kahana's threats, Elon had a fiery retort. He threatened to sue Kahana. Cue the headlines. Elon's going after rokahanna. How dare he? Of course, that narrative misses the point. Democrats are the ones threatening to jail Elon Musk. Is he supposed to just sit there and take it? And get robbed, Lindsay? And get put in jail?
Well, I wouldn't say robbery.
What is
Taxes are used to build every single thing in our country that we all use and enjoy.
Okay,
so
I propose the
I don't
Lindsey Granger tax. It only applies to Lindsey Granger and her personal
You know what's so funny? Elon Musk is the biggest beneficiary of government support out of any...
Now, according to this female that is a true hater, right? Which most women are. She says that Elon Musk gets more from the government than anybody in the country, right? Well, let's look at that. So Elon Musk, he gets tax breaks, he gets subsidies, he gets anything the government offers to build rockets, you moron. He builds rockets. What do you or anybody collecting welfare contribute to the country? Nothing. What do people that collected from USAID contribute to the country? Nothing. As a matter of fact, when we wanted to get minerals from you liberals cried, right? Nothing. Elon Musk, he goes and rescues people from space and brings them back home. He snatches rockets out of the sky, which you all only dreamed of with NASA. But you question, what does Elon Musk contribute? You people are unreal.
Citizen in the United States. The man gets tax breaks and leniency in a variety of ways. He gets corporate tax breaks. He gets state and local tax incentive. He gets regulatory credits. I mean, this man is exactly what you call somebody who uses the government for assistance. Across the board.
To keep more of his money. It's tax breaks, tax cut, that's about...
He gets government loans and contract that are in his favor. I'm sure he's not having a no bid.
He gets contract.
Last thing, not one time does she ever mention a contribution that Elon Musk makes to the country. About saving the astronauts that were stuck on the space station. Nothing. She doesn't mention nothing. These are people that want to destroy this man, that once was a Democrat. Trump once was a Democrat. Ask yourself, why do they want to destroy him? Because he's tore down everything they have built to steal our money and destroy America. Have a great one.
He gets loans as well, okay? SpaceX and Tesla have
subsidies for Tesla
benefited from
he opposes.
loans. Okay, the point is Elon Musk uses the government like any Medicare recipient uses the government.
Oh, God, no.
In an exaggerated way because he's making billions off of it. And you know what's so interesting?
They're paying him for his services.
Elizabeth Warren pointed out that Elon Musk is a trillionaire. Like, when we break that down, it would take 11 million years for the average U.S. citizen to get to where Elon Musk is.
But you
it's not
understand he's
possible.
a trillionaire on paper, right?
Yeah.
It's because the value
I
of the company
understand
is
what an
that.
IPO is.
Yes, I know you do.
I understand.
So it's not, but he doesn't actually have the cash on hand until he sells the company or sells shares in the company.
But isn't that concentration of wealth absurd to anybody? So for people to be bringing up,
He didn't
that we
take
don't
it
need
from
to have
me.
a trillionaire in this world when we're watching people who can't afford to eat because of decisions that are made by our federal administration. You would assume that he can give his fair share, especially if he's skirting around taxes in the way that we've seen other billionaires do.
Can we dial down on that a little bit?
Please.
You're hoarding the wealth, richest man. Okay, he didn't take it from you or from anyone else. The wealth would simply not exist. The wealth exists because he has provided something that is that valuable to his fellow human being.
And he's been aided by the government in doing that to a point where he can...
Well, the government pays him for the services.
He's been aided extremely by, like most people who you don't want the government to pay for services. I mean, somebody who's already a billionaire shouldn't get even more leniency so that things are cheaper for them to do and they have relationships, loans from the government in ways that make them extremely wealthy. Like, we are assisting, taxpayers are essentially assisting Elon Musk become a trillionaire.
Really?
Say it anyway. You tell her when she can build a rocket, then we'll take 5% of Elon Musk's money. All right? You tell them that when they can build a rocket and snatch it out of the air like Elon Musk does and reuses it again, right? Then we'll think about taking 5% of Elon Musk's money to give to the people. Okay? We'll make you happy then. But you got to show us that you could build a rocket from beginning to end and snatch it out of the air. Good luck with that.
I mean, a little bit.
A little bit. So why can't he?
Getting rid of those policies.
So all Rokahanna said is give a little bit of money. If the
5%.
government is assisting you a little bit, give a little bit to the people.
Give billions of dollars.
I mean, he's been helped upwards of the hundreds of millions.
Again,
so
he doesn't have that money on hand. It's a theoretical evaluation. If those companies will probably continue to grow and he'll probably continue to get wealthier. But if they were badly managed or a competitor comes along, they could theoretically drop in their value. He could dip well under that again. He could become the world's first trillionaire, a second, a third, and a fourth time if it goes up and down. So that's why I'm saying it's weird to say he has to pay money that he doesn't actually. It's theoretical that he owns it.
I also don't
you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I understand what you're saying, and I think that everybody in the Democratic Party doesn't
Understands it's theoretical money, right? But she don't care. She wants it anyway. They want it anyway. Theoretical or not, you claimed it, they want it. You should think about that. All the taxes you pay, and it's not enough. They want more. Why? Because they can't steal from us no more. So now they want to take. And if they get power, they're going to take.
really agree with Rokahanna.
Yeah.
Okay, Rokahanna is saying the shock and awe thing, the thing that's going to get headlines and make people stop, really to talk about the fact that he wants to unpack what Elon Musk did terribly when he had this government position that nobody wanted him to have.
Get it right. Democrats didn't want him to have. We wanted him to have it.
Same amount of debt because of decisions that the administration made while he was trying to comb through these programs, but also left disarray completely with all the different things that he tried to.
So that's a crime? It's a crime?
No, it's worth being.
Government programs?
No, when we ask people questions.
Rokahanna says he's
when
going to
Congress
investigate
does its job and it provides oversight, then that's necessary for everybody to feel like they're doing their job well, what we put them in office to do. So they want Elon Musk to come down and answer questions. What was your strategy for USAID? What was the plan forth when you decided to cut all these programs with no off-ramp?
His strategy
and so these
was
are
exactly what he did with Twitter.
It left it a
fire
mess.
Tons of overhead people who work there, and the site continued to operate.
But he didn't reduce. This is not a private company. He didn't reduce our debt in any way, especially when you balance it against the decisions like the war.
I agree.
Yeah, the decisions like the war and the decisions like the Big Beautiful Bill that immediately any cutting that he did do, which was overstated by his team multiple times, but any cutting that he did do immediately got canceled out by how much we added to the deficit
We
just
agree
this year alone.
that those efforts, the Doge efforts, ultimately were a failure. I think that's a sad thing, and you think that's a good thing.
No, I think Elon Musk is looking in the wrong places to try to have the country build back its wealth. He's looking to the poorest of people, the people that need our help, that the U.S. is providing funding to. Instead of looking at the richest of people and saying,
go out in the streets, ask Americans, do you agree with your wealth being sent to needy people overseas?
So people had two options.
They could write a check.
Do I agree with my wealth funding wars overseas, or do I agree with my wealth going to needy people? I think that Americans would probably support the needy people.
They don't support either.
Well, let's do a poll then. How about in the comments? Which one would you prefer?
Okay, what was the plan?
The U.S. is still sending money. If he's thinking about places to cut, perhaps there are other places to cut than starting with the poorest of the world that we help.
The poor of the world are just entitled to American taxpayer dollars forever. No questions asked. Is that really? I hope Democrats run on that policy.
No, it's
we are
not no
giving your
asked.
money elsewhere without any scrutiny, without any rethinking of it. Not an emergency, not just because there's been a famine or a war zone and they need help now. We got to get them back on their feet, but forever. Their medical care forever. We're never going to let them build hospitals and build.
The goal is to help
pharmacies
people.
and
the goal is to help other countries get on their feet so that they can facilitate these things themselves. Yes, it wasn't forever. It was just to put and pump energy into certain economies so that they can then take it over and run it moving forward. But if they have nothing to live off of, have no basic facilities, then they can't begin to figure out how to run hospitals and take care of their own.
Okay, well, maybe
so if the U.S. is implementing
in the last 20 years while we've been doing this program, we should have stopped to say,
did we build the hospital system we have out here in 20 years?
This is the last 5 years. This money's coming in. Let's talk about you building the infrastructures to do this yourselves. Or where's the resources you're supplying us? I mean, everybody freaked out when the State Department said, okay, then we want the minerals from wherever. Okay, that's a trade. We're not entitled to get anything in return for this if it's going to continue. Okay, or where's the goodwill? I guess, are we allowed to have military bases there? Are we, just sell me on it and sell, not me, sell the American people on it. The Democratic attitude is we don't have to sell them because we're entitled to take it. We're entitled to take your money. There's going to be a lot more of that to come. And it scares me.
I don't believe the Democrats are going to make it their whole life to attack people like Elon Musk. That could be one part of the strategy, but not the whole thing.
Next up, Iran is contradicting claims made by both Trump and his vice president after the first round of talks in Switzerland. We'll be right back.
Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe, like, and share. See you next time.